Cowboys and the Broncos. Okay, we're going to talk about a stat that's told the story. We're going to give you the top fives, but we're also going to break down what was the highest graded play that we have so far this season, which was the R.J. Harvey touchdown. So we'll break that down and sort of explain the grade there in a second. But before we get to that, top 5 graded players that we had in this game. Denver winning big 44-24. On Denver side of things, offensive guard Quinn Miners, the top man on this list with a 92.2. Big reason why is that run blocking play that we'll talk about here in a second. Linebacker Alex Singleton with an 88.6. Running back J.K. Dobbins, an 83.8. Wide receiver Troy Franklin, a 76.9. Tight end Evan Ingram, a 76.7. And the Bo Nix in this game, an 87.2. On Dallas' side of things, offensive guard Tyler Booker with an 83.1. Edge rusher Donovan Ezeraku, a 79.8. Edge rusher Jadeveon Clowney, a 77.5. Tight end Luke Schoonmaker with a 76.7. Offensive guard Tyler Smith with a 75.8. Dak Prescott in this game, we wondered if he would struggle. It's a tough defense he was going up against, and he did. This was a tough outing for Dak Prescott, who has had a fantastic year, which I think is just more kudos to Denver than anything else and how he played. Prescott getting a 51.6 overall grade in this one. Dalton, stats told the story.
Yeah, I mean, there's just we're at this point with the Cowboys like we've been at the last year and a half with the Bengals, where it's just there's just days where their defense doesn't give them a chance. The Broncos 7.5 yards per play, 0.339 EPA per play for an entire game. That's one of the best marks of the entire season. 81.5 offensive grade as a team. To be honest with you, I didn't even go back and watch a whole lot of the Cowboys offense in this game a bit, until probably midway through the third quarter, because I was just like, they just don't get stops. And if Dak Prescott doesn't play perfect football, what are they going to do? I mean, it's just at that point they just don't get any. This is the worst defense in football, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know the Raiders aren't great. There's a couple others that aren't great, but this team, you can't walk out there and they got an interception on the third play of the game of Bo Nix. That was basically Bo's only bad throw of the day. I've got Bo Nix down as my most impressive because I do like that Sean Payton came out and just let him attack right from the beginning of the game instead of waiting 3 whole quarters for it and getting desperate, like they have in these comeback victories lately. But 85 passing grade would have been even higher than that if not for the one interception that he missed third play of the game. 10-plus yard throws, 7 of 13, 3 touchdowns, 3 big-time throws, 91 passing grade on those. This was just teams just walk into these games against Dallas's defense, and they essentially just take their liberties, man. I mean, we saw Caleb Williams do it. We saw Jordan Love do it. We saw Russell Wilson do it. I mean, this is just the way it goes with this Dallas defense. And, I mean, you look at just the sheer amount of points that Dallas has to score to stay in and win these games, 40-37, tie-in 40-40 with the Packers. I mean, if their offense doesn't play perfect football, they're going to lose. And honestly, there's times they may lose anyway because this right now is the worst defense in football. Yep. I think, and Denver showed why again.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Cowboys secondary was the stat that told the story here for me. You mentioned the 10-yard throws or more that Knicks had in this game. 32.8 coverage grade from their secondary. That's the Dallas Cowboys. So corners and safeties, Trikwedge Bridges struggled. Both of the starting safeties really struggled. Kyrie Elam and Deron Bland were okay in this game, but it just, as a unit, like you're never going to win if you're giving up this many points and when you're giving up that many explosives in the passing game. And at this point in time, if you're the Broncos, the only thing that it's a week-to-week league, as they say, but like what you're really worried about from Bo Nix isn't the fact that he can do things for you. What you're really worried about with him is that one interception that happened early in the game. We got to get those out of your system. And I don't know if those will totally be out of Bo Nix's system. I'm just not sure with the mindset that he has this season with being a little bit more of a gunslinger. But like that throw, like that's
It was a miss. I'll say this much: it wasn't a bad read or anything. Like they missed, and sometimes guys miss throws. But I do like at the very least that, especially against this team, that Sean Payton just said, "Hey, wipe it. We're going again. We're killing this team because we can't."
Right? That's what we've talked about all year.
Right.
Like, that's what I think the mindset has been all year. But that throw. You're right. It wasn't that bad of a read, but like, why did he miss that throw? He missed that throw because he weirdly sidearmed it.
Yeah.
Because he just does that.
In games against Kansas City.
Yeah, you can't do
secondary,
that.
You're not going to be able to do that. You can get away with it in this one, and
right.
I like that.
Right.
I do like that in this game. Peyton just said, "Hey, keep letting it rip," because they're not stopping it. But you're right. In the bigger games against the Kansas Cities and these other big games that they have, or Indianapolis when he was taking his chances and they lost that game. It's got to be. There's occasionally some of that in there, and it's not exclusive to him. We've talked about that with Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence and some other guys too. But at least in this game, you could get away with it because it's the Cowboys defense. And again, I think this is another one where I've talked about this before. Not as consistently off as Caleb Williams, but sometimes the footwork can be a little funky from Bo also, which can lead to misses like that.
Joe in the chat saying, let's be real, y'all thought the Cowboys were going to win. Clearly he didn't watch the Wednesday show because I had the Broncos winning. We both had it close. We both had this game close.
Oh, no, I took Dallas. I thought Dallas was going to ride that momentum and just go, but look, this defense, Dak Prescott's the reason they can make the playoffs, and their defense is a reason that they may not.
Wait, Bash in the chat saying it was a no-look pass. Was it actually a no-look pass, the Knicks thing?
If it was,
I didn't think it was a no-look pass.
I can check that part again, but if it was, don't do that again.
Yeah, that would kind of explain why, because it was a weird miss anyways. I remember watching that play and I was like, how did that happen? I didn't think it was a no-look pass from him. It didn't feel like it was.
I don't know what. No,
He's watching the show. He's watching the play live on the show.
I'm watching it right. I'm looking at his eyes, and I don't know where he would have been looking to.
No, maybe they might have been talking about something else. I don't know. I'm just reading the chat. But yeah, that obviously, like we've said, like you can't really do that stuff against the Kansas Cities, and that's what I think the Broncos have the potential to be, is playing the Kansas City Chiefs in a big game, whether it's for the division or in the playoffs or whatever it is, and like that's the stuff that I think we got to flush out.
And despite a lot of the things we've said about their offense, because there's been weeks where it doesn't look great, they are 6-2.
Oh, for sure.
They're in a pretty good spot.
They are a very good team. I am nitpicking a team that I predicted would win the division.
That's true too.
I said that the Broncos were going to win this division, and so I am judging them against what I think the team has the potential to be. So I'm always going to sound like I'm nitpicking a little bit because I had a lot of faith in this team moving into the season. Anyways, let's explain the grade here for what is the highest graded play that we have so far in the 2025 NFL season, and that was the R.J. Harvey 40-yard touchdown here. Now, I want to lean on you for a good amount of this analysis because, like we said earlier in the show, you came up through the data collection side of things in this company, so you obviously have a great eye for what receives a positive grade here and there. But this play, if you watched it live, you saw the Broncos offensive line and all their blockers just absolutely kicking ass on this play. And R.J. Harvey, he has to make a read once he gets to, I believe you would classify it as the second level, maybe it's the third level when he gets up to sort of like where the safeties are. He has to make a read and make a cut, but outside of that, man, he had a pretty wide open rushing lane to be able to get into the end zone, and it was just an unbelievable play. And the reason why it was the highest graded play that we have so far this season is because every single offensive lineman and tight end who was on the field in this play, who was run blocking, gained a positive play here. And I guess that also includes Pat Bryant, who did a really good job of washing out, I believe it was with the outside linebacker or the defensive end, on that play initially for them to, he basically takes them out of the play by allowing them to sort of overrun where R.J. Harvey is going to go for this play. So let's talk about some of the details of this play. Let's talk about the grading of this play, and let's sort of break down how it became one of the highest graded plays.
So you mentioned it without the video or me doing the slideshow on it like we bring up on Thursdays with certain subjects. What you have here, it's the classic pin pole concept. Kyle Shanahan loves this. Sean Payton using it a little bit here in his offense. You mentioned Pat Bryant getting down on the defensive end. That's the pin, as you're trying to pin him inside so you can get that toss sweep going outside of it. Garrett Bowles then pulls out behind him, right, and gets out to the corner. He gets the positive grade for not just sealing off the corner, but shoving him 6 yards out towards the sideline and creating that huge lane to the outside. Then you look at everybody else on the backside of this, from the right guard all the way back to the tight end on the right. They're basically sealing front side like you described before, on like they would an outside zone. All you're trying to do is get to your inside gap and seal somebody off. So the left guard Calvin Throckmorton, he gets up to the linebacker. The center gets to the 2-eye, the defensive tackle who's on the inside shoulder of the left guard. He seals him off and boxes him out. The right tackle does something similar on the backside of the play. The tight end gets up to a linebacker. So all everybody on the backside is trying to do is step to their inside gap. If somebody's in the inside gap, or head up or inside shoulder of the next lineman, just seal them away from the play. Because what those backside the cutoffs do is either A, they open that initial lane even wider on that side, or B, you allow those cutback lanes, and Harvey's got options on that front side. The craziest one here, who got the highest grade, is Quinn Miners, the right guard. He was the highest graded player in this game. He gets up on a linebacker, so there's nobody in his inside gap on that side of the center. He gets up to the linebacker, absolute pancake, just mauls him, to the point where, Trev, I always have the line, good offensive lines block on the first level, great offensive lines block on the second level. Quinn Miners is trying to set a new status here because he's up on the third level. He pancakes a linebacker, and then he gets up and pancakes the deep free safety to open that final lane so R.J. Harvey can be completely untouched.
Then he even looks for work after that. And he gets up and he tries to go for that third pancake.
Well, it's why he makes the money. He turns around and hits somebody on the backside here. It's why he's one of the best players and one of the highest paid guards in football, because he can do things like that. But these are the moments you look at when we talk about looking at the entire thing. So I'm not even sure that R.J. Harvey on the scale even got, I have to look at it, even got a +1 here. Because
I don't know if he did.
He was basically at that point, he could walk to the end zone. But when you talk about knowing the assignments and what everybody's supposed to do on a play like this, I've done breakdowns like last week or 2 weeks ago. I did the Giants breakdown and some of the things that they were doing in their run game. Similar stuff here with Denver, but you don't see many plays, because usually the goal is you get a couple of positive grades to open things up. And there's been studies done on like how many plays in the run game can you get where just nobody gets a negative, right? Kind of you're as good as your weakest link thing here, which is fine. If you got like 2 or 3 positive grades and the other 3 guys were neutral, you probably got a pretty darn good play on your hands.
Right.
This case where all 6 guys up front all got positive grades, and Quinn Miners, I think when you have 2 separate blocks, he actually gets 2 separate positive grades that stack up, which is crazy. You talking about now, okay, that's how guys start walking in from 40 yards out, and that's why we talk about run blocking grades and offensive line play, and impact run block percentage. And why the Denver Broncos offensive line in particular is a top 3 to 5, if not number 1 unit, is plays like that. So it's really fun to just break down these things. And these are things we get to break down, yes, live as the game's going. And then when we get the all-22 and you see the end zone shot of a play like this, you have a lot of fun with it, because you're like, man, just everybody's doing their job. And I'll tell you right now, this all-22 of this play for a pin pull, that's a coach's clinic right there. People are going to save that in the folder.
It is. You mentioned the left guard being Calvin Throckmorton. That was actually Alex Podcheski. So
did Throckmorton get hurt too now?
I don't know if he got hurt, but it was Podcheski in this game, and I think he played most of this game at left guard, and he played well. But I just want to shout him out because look,
good call, because I know he
takes Kenneth Murray for a ride.
So
I can't take that away from him.
Ben Powers got hurt, I know it's been a rotation with those guys too there.
He had a fantastic block on this play. But so here's a question for you, and I think this is a good one because you did a great job explaining exactly what everybody's doing on that play to gain a positive play. First and foremost, I guess I just want to say this: Eric Eager used to work at PFF. Now he works for the Carolina Panthers, actually in their analytics in their front office department. He wrote an article a while ago, which I believe you guys can still see on the website, and he talked about the value of a perfectly blocked play. And he talked about how when you have a perfectly blocked play, so when you have a play where everyone who is run blocking gains a positive difference-making result or grade on a play, the EPA per play of those plays is the best play in football. Like what we just witnessed the Denver Broncos do against the Dallas Cowboys, this is the best play in the game of football when it all works out like this. You're mitigating your risk. All you're doing is handing the ball off. And like you said, not many plays where you can walk into the end zone from 40 yards out. You can with this type of a play. So I just want to explain that sort of as I think a lot of people look at us, and sometimes PFF has been like, like they hate running backs, they hate running the ball, like they're always, leaning into EPA per play, which is so leaned on passing. Obviously there's, nuance, and we have that conversation about what's more valuable and what's not, especially situationally. But just to be very clear, a perfectly blocked play like the one that we just watched against the Dallas Cowboys from the Denver Broncos, that's the best play in the game of football. I did want to ask you this question because I saw somebody ask this before. I think it was somebody on Twitter who asked this. So Quinn Miners gets a 1.5 out of 2. Remember the grade scale. It starts at 0 for a neutral play, and then it goes up or down in 0.5 half increments all the way up to 2 or -2. Quinn Miners on this play, you mentioned 2 pancakes and even gets up after the second pancake and he's kind of looking for work. He gets a 1.5 on this play. There are people on Twitter who are like, holy cow, what's he got to do to be able to get a 2? And I think that's a good thing to just sort of like bring up and talk about because we really do give out very, very few 2s or -2s.
The most common ones, not even most common because there's only maybe like 40 of them ever, would be like just insane throws from I think about, remember Eli Manning's throw to Mario Manningham?
Yes.
That's one. -2s are more common because a good amount of pick sixes get in that category.
Sure.
Or there's just certain plays like if I remember a Deebo Samuel play a couple years back where he took his screen. He took a tunnel screen and broke like 6 tackles.
Yeah.
And scored like a 70-yard. Like it would take like plays. Think about plays that you just remember forever, no matter what. Like you would be getting up in that category.
And to be honest, like the Quinn Miners, we gave it a 1.5. We really do try to reserve those 2s for like some of what you said, like the most memorable plays that you've ever seen in your life. So
here's what I have actually. The composite, because remember I told you can get a grade. If you block 2 guys that well, you can get a grade for both. Mm-hmm. He got a 1.5 for the first one, and then another 0.5 for the one on the free safety. So he actually, when you add it up, he did get a +2 on this play. I had to go and look at it. Because,
he did.
And it happened in 2 separate. I don't know if we've ever done one block.
That's been a 2?
That's been a 2.
Sure.
But to get the 2 together and get there, I mean, you're talking about getting two big blocks on guys downfield, especially the first one. I mean, just wasn't that. I mean, it just wasn't fair at that point because Quinn Miners coming full speed at you. That's rough. But if you take the 2 put together, he actually did on this play. It's just ridiculous when you get 2 blocks like that in the same play.
So it's one of those things where Quinn Miners gets technically, it's in the books as a 1.5, but it's really like 2 1.5s that he got on this play, or is it a 2? Did it get elevated up to a 2?
It might put it because it's the same play. It might put. I got to look at it, but it might put it together.
All that to say, there were only 6 blocks all of last year that got a 1.5 or higher. Quinn Miners actually did have one of them, and this is a player who. What I love so much about Quinn Miners is you could tell he gets that first pancake on Shamar James. And it only he doesn't get the pancake and then like stands over him. He gets the pancake and it's if he took like a Mario mushroom and he's just like, okay, like where's the next one? Like what? Somebody give me something. I'm about to make this the best play of all time. And then he gets the second pancake and then what does he do immediately after that? He pops up and he tries to. I can't even remember who he gives a pop to at the end, but he almost gets 3 pancakes on a single block.
Who's 42? Clowney? Is that right?
That sounds right.
He
actually.
like turns around and looks.
Clowney's a dense dude. Clowney's a strapping young lad. So that makes sense that he wasn't able to just bowl over Jadeveon Clowney, even feeling as juiced up as he was there. So there we go. Okay.